Of course, COVID-19 and the effects of the ways our society has changed has had an impact on a number of different people, but especially on our children. We talk so much about the impact of COVID-19 on the education system, but it's really affecting kids at a young age as well. And there are organizations all throughout the state of Michigan that are working hard day in and day out to help provide some help that can bridge those gaps that are in place. And one of those organizations is Brilliant Detroit. We're joined by its CEO, Cindy Eggleton, now on the MegaCast. Cindy, thanks for being with us today.
It's such a pleasure to be here, really and truly. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on the show. For those that are unfamiliar with Brilliant Detroit, what does your organization do?
Brilliant Detroit exists to do what we call create kid success neighborhoods, where kids and families in the middle of the neighborhoods in Detroit have everything that they need, belly to eight, in education, health, and family support. And we do that by repurposing houses and creating them as really a hub where we have over 100 programs in them that people can attend.
We're joined by Cindy Eggleton. She is the CEO of Brilliant Detroit with us on the MegaCast. And the organization was created in 2015, and from my notes, to provide a quote, radically new approach to kindergarten readiness in neighborhoods. When you say a radically different approach, how are you changing that approach to prepare families for their kids to go into kindergarten, particularly in the neighborhoods?
Yeah, so first off, it's radically new to do it right in the middle of the neighborhoods. We also involve the community. We really believe that neighborhoods and people should be in charge of their future. So we don't go into any neighborhood unless we've been invited in. We hire from the neighborhood, and our cost model is really effective and efficient. So there are over 30,000 kids in the city of Detroit with no early care options, which are critically important because 90% of the brain is developed by age 3. We can't leave that many kids on the table, right? And we've been able, within 5 years, to get to serve 10,000 people. So that tells you a little bit about the ability to scale. But really, what I would say is organizations provide programs and services, and a community is there for each other. And what we are is both. Because we're so centered in the middle of the neighborhood, because we have advisories, and because we hire from the neighborhood, that's why it's working.
And so you talked about tailoring these programs specifically to these neighborhoods. You're not going in and implementing these. You're going into neighborhoods where you are invited in and then building the programs based on the needs of those specific neighborhoods, because no matter where you're going in the city of Detroit or in Metro Detroit or across the state of Michigan, anywhere in the world, the lives of children, the needs of children, especially in those formative years on an education front and just in general, are all going to be different. So when you're going into these neighborhoods, what is your organization doing to design those programs? What are you focusing on to provide the specific design of these programs that are needed for those kids in that neighborhood?
Right. So we have programs for kids and adults together, and adults only, really. And there are certain efforts that must happen. Everybody needs after-school tutoring, right? So we have that. Everybody needs support in terms of having a baby. We have that. But the neighborhood, and we have advisories in every single neighborhood, they help decide what hours should we be open? What else? What should we be going into further? Some of our neighborhoods, there may be a higher need for GED or English as a second language. And we have 100 partners that we provide programs along with. So we don't do this alone. We do this with many others, but it's all under one roof. A woman early on told me something that really helped explain this, which is, I asked the neighborhood, what do you need? And a person stood up and she said, I need this, and I need this. And she said, here's the thing is, I work more than full time and I don't drive. And people think access to a program is it's over here, over here, over here. Well, I can't do that. So what's different is we're really putting caregivers and parents at the center of this to ask them, really, what do you need for your family? And how can we do that? But then we provide all evidence-based support to assure that the top quality is getting straight to people who want and need it.
We're joined by Cindy Eggleton, the CEO of Brilliant Detroit, with us today on the MegaCast. And you mentioned, and it's mentioned here in my notes also, that part of Brilliant Detroit's efforts and their focus in these efforts is to support the entire family to help the child succeed. How much more important is it to ensure that not only the kids are getting the support that they need educationally, especially in those formative years, but also that you're providing support to parents who, in many cases, this could be their first child, this could be their third child, who knows? There could be a number of different scenarios for one parenting cohort to another, but it's important to provide those supports. How much more important do you find it to be to provide those supports to the parents as well as the kids to really support the full educational scope?
It's critical. First off, a strong family is built on the whole family feeling strong, right? Mm-hmm. Number two, for kids, their first teacher is their parent. It's their caregiver. That's their first teacher. And one thing that we've learned along the way is no parent doesn't want what is best for their family and kids. And so the stronger you help with the adults, the better the kids are going to do. And frankly, the better we all are going to do, because we work in neighborhoods sometimes where there is a high poverty rate, et cetera, and we really want to build efforts where kids and families can say, my life is not just better, it's totally transformed. And that's what we've been doing. And we've shown those results. We've been able to show 3 grade level improvement with the kids that we work with. And on everything we measure, we've shown significant improvement from a third-party evaluator. That's important. And it is because we're working with the whole family in a holistic way.
We're joined by Cindy Eggleton. She is the CEO of Brilliant Detroit, joining us today on the MegaCast. And so, Cindy, when these families are going to these early childhood centers that are being built and established in these neighborhoods, let's start with the children. What are some of the programs that they are experiencing? Obviously, with it being different from one neighborhood to the next, what can people expect if they are taking their kids to these different centers of what their experiences will be and what they'll be engaged in?
Yeah, depending on where your child's age is, because we're with you from belly to 8. It's not just an 8-week program. We are with you. So if your child is under 3, you want to help increase their language and really your ability to talk and turn taking. We have programs in that way. If your child is between 3 and 5, we want to increase the ability to get kindergarten ready, to be able to self-regulate, to be able to read with your children. And if they're after 5, we want to help them with their school skills, etc. We also want to do social emotional, teach nutrition. So we have nutrition, and we have physical activity, as well as how do you improve your financial literacy. All of that is under one roof.
And then on the other side as well, for parents that are coming in to these centers as well, what are the programs that they're experiencing?
They may also need to increase their literacy. They need help sometimes with how to manage as a parent, parenting skills. A lot of times they need help just actually feeling supported and actually getting some support in terms of additional food, etc. All of those things also are under our roof. And sometimes right now in the middle of COVID, people are feeling stressed. And we also have health and well-being and stress and mental health support.
We're joined by Cindy Eggleton. She is the CEO of Brilliant Detroit with us today on the MegaCast, and transitioning the Little Free Library in conjunction with Brilliant Detroit held an initiative, or launched an initiative this summer called Read in Color. Can you tell us a little bit about that initiative?
Yeah. So we're so blessed. We serve many, but we've also had these wonderful partners come in and really wrap their arms around. There's good people that want to do good things. So Little Free Libraries launched an effort out of Minnesota after George Floyd was murdered. And what it is they're little libraries where there are books also supplied to show that represent all people, people of color, people of different ages, people of different genders. And those books are available, brand new, beautiful books. And so we have been able to launch this at all of our sites, 14 sites. And we're thrilled because every kid, and frankly, every adult, needs to see themselves in what they read.
And it's so important to not only to see yourself represented, or someone like you represented in your stories, in what content that you're consuming, whether it be a book, whether it be a television show, whether it be music, or just in your community. It's important also, especially in those early years, 0 to 8 years old, those formative years, to expose children to different people of different walks of life as well, so that they grow into more tolerant young adults and adults down the line. Because as we have seen more evident than ever in the past years, we know just from experiencing the raw, just childlike wonder of kids, because they're children, that the hate and the discrimination that is out there in our world is a learned behavior, but you can also learn and reinforce the learned behaviors of tolerance and of acceptance. And this is exactly how you do that.
That's right. It's twofold. It's seeing yourself, but also experiencing others. It's really both. And at some point in the world, we need to come together, what we call neighbor to neighbor, regardless of zip code. And that's one of the areas that I think we're really proud of. We have over 2,000 volunteers from over 250 zip codes that all come together for kids and families. And that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it just goes to show even more, and it's more evident of the fact that we are connected, that our communities are connected, and what happens in Detroit affects the northwestern suburbs, affects Grand Rapids, affects the Upper Peninsula, Indiana, Ohio, the Midwest region, and so on and so forth. And so when we have these programs that are in place, that are starting at the grassroots in our communities, we're really building strength in experiences, in education, and in numbers just from within our communities. We're joined by Cindy Eggleton. She's the CEO of Brilliant Detroit, with us on the MegaCast, and with just a few more minutes with you. So I want to make sure we have enough time for you to really go into some detail about this. You have a fundraiser coming up. It's your 5th annual benefit. That'll be in late September. Tell us a little bit about that event and how people can get involved in this benefit.
Yeah, so it's September 23rd, and it's going to be both virtual and a little bit in person. And I want to just say, you can go on our website and you can register. There's no cost involved at this point. It is uplifting. In a world that can sometimes seem like there's a lot going on, we will have individuals that have been part of us for 5 years telling their stories. And I will tell you that there is nothing better. Last year we did something similar because we were still in COVID, and people walked away feeling really both inspired by who really are the true heroes in the middle of neighborhoods. And so it's one of my favorite days because we get to highlight really great people.
We're joined by Cindy Eggleton from Brilliant Detroit with us today on the MegaCast. She is their CEO. Their benefit coming up, as she said, on September 23rd. That is a Thursday. September 23rd, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can register for virtual and in-person opportunities and support Brilliant Detroit on their website, brilliantdetroit.org. And Cindy, just another couple minutes with you. You have a safe sleep class with a free pack and play online event coming up. Tell us a little bit about that event and maybe other events that are available, not only in person, but virtually as well at this moment in time.
I want to say you did a really good job researching us, so thank you. So we have all kinds of things coming up. Safe Sleep is one of them. You can just actually email us at info@brilliantdetroit.org on anything you might be interested in. We're also doing a potty training where there's free potty chairs being given away. You can sign up for tutoring. You can sign up for language classes. You can sign up for Zumba. Email us at info@brilliantdetroit.org. The other thing we have coming on right now is we're participating in the Rock Community Challenge. So if you're inclined and you want to give money to a great organization, it's another thing. You can go online, look that up, and contribute in that way. We really want people's hearts in what they do. So in any way, again, info@brilliantdetroit.org. People who may want to volunteer, we always need a ton of volunteers.
We're joined by Cindy Eggleton. She's the CEO of Brilliant Detroit. Cindy, just another minute with you before we say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for our audience to know about your organization, or anything else that you'd like to say today?
Yeah, I'm just going to tell us a quick story of one of our participants, which is why this matters in community and in neighborhoods. This was somebody early on, and this is where I knew we were onto something, and she knitted hats for everybody at a community dinner, and 75 of them. And I said, wow, how'd you do it? And why did you do it? First off, I can't imagine it. And she said, I lived in this particular neighborhood for 30 years. I raised my kids. This was my neighborhood, and then it didn't feel like it, and now it does. That's what we're about. And while we're doing that, we're making sure that neighborhood is growing kids that can be successful in life.
Well, Cindy, we appreciate your time, appreciate what your organization is doing in Detroit and in the local area, and thank you for taking time with us today.
Thank you, and really great questions.
Thank you.
All right, great.